Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to I believe this is episode number 4 of the B-Main Bobbies Podcast. I am Tanner Allen, and I'm here with fellow Bobby, Miciah Hidlebaugh, and we have our very first guest on the podcast, Mr. Rob Marsh from the Dirt Crown Summer Series. Rob, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Guys, I'm excited, but you didn't tell me I was the first guest.
Your first guest. I mean, it's a big deal around here.
Well, I know you guys just enough to know that you're pretty passionate about what you do. I can see this thing going a long ways, and because everything you guys do is pretty good. So I guess I'm excited to be one of maybe the first guests and one of the first shows you've had here. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah, we have been getting quite a bit of interest lately. I think we've got a pretty decent list of people that are already wanting to get on it. And I know Miciah had mentioned to you a while ago that you said you'd like to be on it, and I figured it was pretty fitting to have you as the first guest, as we're going to be racing together here like a month from tomorrow. So really looking forward to that, and I'm ready to try something different with the Dirt Crown series. You guys seem to have a pretty awesome deal going, and I'm extremely excited. I'm getting very impatient to start racing.
Tell you what, I don't know if you feel like Scott and I do, but the winter has flown by for us. We feel like we've got a lot of work to do here to get it done. I don't know how your guys' cars are coming along, but I hope they're coming along well and that you're getting everything ready to go. We're excited. It's another great racing year coming up, and I had seen Miciah a few times last year race with us, and we just feel like we can build off of some great momentum from last year. A lot of cool things coming this way with the Dirt Crown stuff this year. So I'm excited for you, Tanner, to be involved with this also, and we'll twist Micaiah's arm to race with us even more, hopefully here.
Oh yeah, I got the schedule all planned out. I mean, it's full dirt car or nothing, buddy. It's all Dirt Crown.
Well, it could be a blast, couldn't it? I mean, there's a lot of cool things about it. When I don't remember if Miciah invited me on or how this worked, but I remember just thinking it wasn't too long ago that Scott Angel and I, who is my business partner on this, had the idea to start kind of the Dirt Crown brand and things. And it took a while for people to kind of get to know who we were and trust us and get our foot in the door. So when the opportunity arose to see that you guys are just starting out with something, I mean, it's a no-brainer for us to be able to help out, because there's been some pretty cool people help us along the way too to get started, and we got a long ways to go, but you got to start somewhere. So I appreciate again that you're involved in Dirt Crown on your show tonight.
So I mean, we're gonna start it off by, so how did the Dirt Crown even just come about? How did you and Scott just come up with this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let's back. I mean, I don't think you have enough time or enough whiskey in your glass probably to.
Oh, buddy, dude, I already cracked one.
Got one yet, but no, I'll just make a real quick story here. Scott's been racing since he was a young guy. I mean, little young kid going with his dad to the races. His dad helped at 3 or 4 tracks every single weekend. Scott learned the ropes from taking money at the gate to being a flag man eventually, working in the booth, and then on up to announcing. Scott's did it all at many races. In fact, he's ran the water truck and worked on racetracks, so he's kind of did it all. And then his contacts through his job at Speedway Motors, and just an awesome guy that he is. He had that. We met along the way. Scott Bivens, who was a good friend of his in David City, Nebraska, he built my first stock car in 2005. It's called Spider Chassis. We won points in Beatrice that year and just hit it off well, and hung out for many years there. But then I stopped racing in 2012, started a family, just kind of had to quit cold turkey. It was the only way that I could truly just back up for a little bit and take a break. But anyways, I quit so cold turkey and got so far away from it that it was 2019 that I started going again just to watch. So long story short, about fall of 2019, I called him up and I said, Scott, it's Rob. I haven't talked to you forever, but I got an idea. And he said, "You're kidding me. This is the same idea that I have." So our first idea was just to have a tour. And we got together with 4 tracks in eastern and southern Nebraska. And IMCA, we worked with them on a schedule to work together 4 tracks in a row the last weekend of March. And so anyways, we talked to some sponsors, but originally this was a spring tour, all classes, big money. And Scott and I were kind of risking everything, shooting for the moon. And COVID took us out the first year because it hit like a week before the tour happened and all the tracks shut down. And then the next 2 years, rain and rain and rain. So you know how the spring goes, guys. But but we decided, you know what, let's spread our risk out. There's some awesome racers, and we just can't keep trying to do this on one weekend in March. So let's see if we can spread this out over the whole summer, give more racers a chance to be involved with what we're doing, and take our time and talents, you know, make it happen a little different. So that's what we started in 22, and I guess here we are today, coming into 24.
Well, I mean, I know the stock car. I mean, Tanner and I are kind of biased because we race them, but I mean, stock cars are probably the best class right now in IMCA. I mean, everybody's wanting to go to them, and I know you're doing a little bit different this year. You're adding sport mods to the Dirt Crown. You're doing stuff with sport mods. I mean, you can talk a little bit about that too. I know there's a lot of sport mods out there. I mean, every show Tanner and I go to like in Eastern Iowa, I mean, they get 50 sport mods just for like 1,000 to win.
Yeah, I mean, sport mods are usually the biggest class. Between them and the hobby stocks over here on this side of the state, it's usually the biggest car count every night.
Sure. I agree with you guys. Just all together, first off, Scott and I just want to help in any way we can. So it's not like we're trying to pick and choose winners and losers with what classes, but like with everything, you got to walk before you run, right?
Exactly.
And, well, backing up to the stock cars, when we looked at it, you know, we took pre-entries for those first couple of years of our spring tour that never happened. And, it was crazy that the amount of stock cars we were getting on pre-entries and where they were coming from was incredible. And that's what I had raced for a long time. I knew just enough that stock cars, I mean, you guys are incredible what you do, and putting a fender on somebody, but yet not messing up. I mean, it's like professional in a way. I mean, it's big time racing that you can watch at your local racetrack. Not every single class can say that, because not every class, nobody maybe has the balls to put their tire on somebody else's tire, because, well, in an open wheel car, you're looking for, that spells disaster for one or both of you. You know, the hobbies, I think there's a lot of potential for the hobbies to work something with them down the road, but full body cars are the way it's at. And the rules have kept everybody pretty similar. But I see the guys that really work at it. The cream kind of rises to the top, but yet I've never seen a class where guys can be in a hobby stock last year and come up and be competitive, come down from a modified and be competitive, come from a late model, come from a midget, come from a sprint car. It's like stock cars are kind of like the hub where everybody can go. And when I say be competitive, you can race your ass off and be fast and get last place.
Oh,
but still,
yeah.
But still be really good, but the competition is amazing. But I bet that's such a rush, Miciah, to know that you're out there with the Murdies and the Greens and the Smiths and everybody else. You know, I could go on and on. But you put a hell of a race in a place that's like winning the Super Bowl with one of these guys.
Well, I mean, like you're saying, it's just for these dirt crowns or any big race, like the Super Nationals, for instance. Gosh, going to a big race like that and those guys are there. Heck, I'm like a nobody. Everybody just knows the Murdy name just Dallin and Damon alone. I mean, those guys, they're well known around the racetrack, and Tanner and we're like nobody. So like when we, like you said, finish, I mean, it's
in a stock. You better have your stuff on. You know, no, the stock cars And we won our count our first year in Nebraska. And then we expanded to an East Division also last year. And we had some pretty good car counts in our Iowa races. Our Nebraska numbers just went through the roof again. And when I say Nebraska, I say East and West. But no, we thought we'd do it again. And yeah, back to sport mods, guys. Sport mod. This sport mods, can you agree with me? Sport mods now are not sport mods of 2005. You know, where they were, you know, they didn't have much suspension and they had a lot of guys. They went fast enough, but they couldn't get them hooked. That you spent more caution laps than you did green flag.
Oh yeah. I mean, he knows the sport mods. I mean, yeah, they're sitting there like, man, I'll hear the sport mods are out. See if they can go one lap without bringing a caution out. But I mean, gosh, I mean, though you're right. These sport mod guys are unreal. It just goes back to like, and it goes back to money. It really does. People, everybody, you always got the people that are like, move up, I mean, move out of the club. And it's like, God, they can afford it. And too, to some people, they don't want to move up because they don't want to struggle. They just can't stand struggling. So they're just going to keep doing what they just keep winning races. I mean, heck, to somebody, winning 20 races is their goal. I mean, and in one of the few prior episodes we've had, Tanner and I talked about how, I mean, my dad raced stock cars, and that's all I wanted to do. And I know when I was first getting back into racing, I wanted to go to a sport mod, but then my dad's like, well, if you're planning to go to a stock car at some point, why don't you start in a full body car and just get used to a hobby stock, then go to stock car? And I mean, he's right.
There's all kinds of different ways, right, to think about how it all works out for everybody. But yeah, the sport mod class, the stock car class, there's so much parity in it. There's so many great drivers. So I don't fault anybody, like if they don't want to move up. It takes there's so much money just to have your program anymore. You can't just say every year you're going to change. And with the competition, you stay on top of your game. So you sure don't want to just jump. I feel like this year, and I had a great year, so let's just jump up. That's what you did 30, 40 years ago, but you were talking you'd have 1,200 in the motor and you know, $5,000 in the
go find a Monte Carlo in the scrapyard and put it together.
Yeah, go through a short block and work on it a little bit, and there you go. So it was easy then. It's not easy now. The sport mods, I mean, those guys are the real deal too now. Like we were 20 years ago, but the guys that race them now, they're on top of their game too, and put on some of the best racing. Some of the most competitive racing come from the sport mods, and then obviously you don't have the fender, so fans like to see. And can we all three admit though, sport mods now are just as fast as mods were? Do I dare say 5 years ago? Maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago for sure.
Well, most of them are on open motors now. And I know Tanner raced the mod. Gosh, I mean, how long ago was it?
I haven't driven a modified in 10 years. So, and we were all open stuff. So we weren't in the IMCA because the local stuff here wasn't sanctioned at the time. So, I mean, we could have some pretty high horsepower stuff. I mean, the last one we had was around like 650 to 700 horse. So quite a bit more than what the sport mods are. But I mean, I bet these guys are just as fast now because as locked down as they have these cars, I mean, they get moving pretty good.
They do. And there's a lot of experience. These chassis builders now have them. They put them up, you know, they send them out the door pretty quick, pretty close on the setup. You don't see guys just grabbing much anymore. Like the old days, people just take an old modified that's been up and throw a motor in and struggle. It's not like that very much anymore, is it?
No.
I mean, these cars are pretty fast right out right out of the gate. They don't let them get too old, not too many of them. So anyways, long story short, sport mods are awesome too. We knew that back when we started our spring tour. We actually were going to pay the sport mods $2,000 a night, times 4 nights in a row to win. So we've always had a big sport mod class. Always. We've always liked them, and we thought it was the right time, the right fit to add them to our Dirt Crown brand.
Right. And I think you guys have this Dirt Crown deal timed out about perfect with where the stock car class has turned into here in the last like 2 to 3 years. About the time when you guys started is when, and I kind of got away from the local stuff for a while. We were running some of the midget stuff and we were traveling more, so I didn't pay attention to it a whole lot. But just from what I've seen in the last like 2 to 3 years, this stock car class has absolutely exploded. And now that you guys this is your 3rd year, correct? And I mean, I feel like it was perfect timing for you guys to get it started when you did. And I think this year could be pretty spectacular for you guys.
I hope so. We just want it to be great for you guys. I mean, that's what it's all about. And the tracks. We've got to get these tracks as good, high quality cars showing up as we can. You guys are the ones that put the show on. But when the promoters say, "Hey, what's it take to be on this tour?" or "Why should we be on this tour?" Well, I mean, we could try to get 30 to 45, 30 to 50 cars, and we feel that there's 20 studs that are going to be in this. And there's no other place in the country in IMCA world where you can find that except for your Super Nationals crowd. There's really no other. We feel that a lot of our features, you could say half of that feature is, made the Boone A-Main or something. So, timing wise, just kind of worked out for us. But I think it's cool to put all these big races together in one schedule and have you guys racing for a lot of money nightly. And then having a police fund again and all the stuff we give away and try to help out to the drivers.
Yeah, and honestly, that was kind of the deciding factor for me is I really appreciate how involved you and Scott both are. And when my dad and I came over to this chassis school and the banquet, I mean, you guys are what most racers dream of. You're very involved. You guys genuinely care. You're asking questions from the racers, you're getting their input, and then you guys are giving us a really good return. You're giving us great racetracks to race at. The payout's incredible. You guys have so much contingency stuff that you give away from all the different sponsors. And it was a very appealing series for not just me, but Miciah as well. Because we ran one race with you last year at Davenport, but seeing that this race schedule this year with 10 races, it's spread out pretty good. And there's some really cool bucket list tracks on there for me. It just seemed like a really good fit for my program personally to give it a go. And I'm really excited for it.
Well, we appreciate that. I am so glad that you came over to that chassis school and that banquet. So not only we could meet you and your dad, but just so you can kind of see who we were,
Right.
Just like everything in life, treat others as you'd want to be treated. And this racing costs so much money, guys. You know what it is. It's not even funny anymore. It's just stupid. I love the sport, but it's really gotten ridiculous here. Things cost way too much money. And our goal is just to help out as much as we can. Tanner, you walked home with a couple things. One thing really big. What was that?
Yeah, we won the new roof. We were actually going to try and patch our one together from last year that got broke, and we weren't going to buy one because they're like $300-400. We happened to win one, so we're like, perfect. Now we can put a new roof on.
Now tell me how many banquets you win a roof, and that roof came from Roth Racing up in Columbus, Nebraska. So we need to thank them. But that's just, I think sponsors are now believing in our brand, and we can. They want to help out too, and we're just kind of a nice conduit to help the racer, but we care. We try hard. We're not always exactly what everybody wants on social media every day. We're not putting something out. It's not it. Our team is pretty small, but we're mighty when we're going. You know, we got jobs and families, but when we can really concentrate on stuff, we really try to do a good job for you guys. And so I don't know. You know, Tanner, we talked about this. We would love to be in Eastern Iowa a little more than we are. It just didn't work out that way this year on the schedule. We wanted to keep the schedule kind of manageable for the racer and for us.
Right.
We got 9 points races on each side. We thought that was a good number, stretching from, you know, March till September on the east and March till August on the west. You know, we thought that's doable because when we set this up, guys, we didn't want to take away from weekly racing, if that's what you want to do. We did not want to take away from family either. If we burden everybody so much, then all of a sudden they have less money, or they're not spending time with their kids or their wife. They're not having fun at the lake or the campground, or they're not at their local racetrack. And we need all these racetracks to stay strong. Right. So we sure didn't want to take people away. It's hard to do it all. But so that's why, Tanner, we probably could have had 20 races per side. Actually, we had a lot of phone calls, and a lot of great tracks are not on this list with great people that we talked to. We just couldn't do it all this year, you know? Right. So as long as you understand that and stick with us, we're just going to keep on trying to improve and still get to some different tracks and different, you know, parts of the world here too. So
that was a big thing for us, is like when we got into the stock car class last year, we points raced for so many years. I mean, throughout the go-kart days, and then when we got into the modifieds and then into the IMCA late models, we didn't want to be married to a specific track to where we're only racing 3 tracks a weekend, and those are the only tracks we go to. When we started running the midget stuff, we went to a bunch of different tracks, and that's when we really started having a lot of fun, is when we were going to these new places. And there's only one track on this Dirt Crown schedule that I have raced at, and that's Spencer. So getting to go to all these different tracks is going to be super cool for me. And like last year, I think we ended up getting to race. I want to say I raced 18 different tracks last year. I've never raced that many different tracks in one season in my life. So that was another reason we wanted to do this, that, and the Knoxville deal. But no,
that's the real question people want to know is how did you get Knoxville on the list? I mean, that's the real question I think people want to know.
Well, Miciah, I like you, but I don't think I can tell you all my secrets.
Hey, it's just like setup, right? You just got to stay in your own notebook, right? Watch your own bobber.
But some things fell in place for that. It's not exactly, I'll just share with you, it's not exactly how Scott and I were hoping. We really were willing to really go out there on a limb and try to rent it, and it didn't quite come together. They're wonderful people on their fair board over there. They just want to go away from renting. They had always rented maybe once every few years the track to somebody, but wanted to just kind of push pause on that. So they said no to it, but they offered us something, and the opportunity to be able to race with the Lucas Oil late models that night as a support class. But still, what a great opportunity. Now we're going to need some help. You know, we got to get some sponsors for that night lined up, because that's kind of out of Scott and I's pocket that whole night. So we're going to work on that here shortly. But you know, we haven't put out all the details how we want to do that yet. But I think we mentioned it, right, Tanner, at the banquet, that you're going to have to be a member and you're going to have to participate with us, because it's just not fair for somebody to show up out of nowhere. Right. And I want to give everybody a chance. There's only a limited number. I wish we could have a big show. Heck, I think we'd have 90 or 100 stock cars, but we're going to have a limit, you know, so we're gonna stay true to the guys that are true to us. That's just how it should be.
Oh,
Right.
I mean, you got to stay that way. I know last year I tried 2 new tracks on the Dirt Crown. Davenport being one of them. And that night really hurts. That was a night that I really thought I was gonna win. I was gonna win a big race for the first time in my career. And it just didn't work out that way. And that's how racing goes. But then I got a race at Huset's. And I mean, just making the features in both of those. I mean, even making a feature in the Dirt Crown. I mean,
Right.
it's just awesome to make. And I know this year I get to try some new tracks, like Tanner said. I mean, I've watched Off Road Speedway on TV. I've watched the late models there, and it just looks like a blast. But some of them I have raced, and then you got the Minnesota swing there. That those 2 nights there at Murray County and Worthington. Um, I think those tracks are gonna be pretty fun. But I also like the support class of the late models because it seems like I only can win big races when it's like we're support classes with the late models. Um, we went to Farley last year, first time being at Farley with the Lucas Oil, and I happened to win. Tanner had some bad luck happen.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like it's I just have that luck when the late models come. I mean, maybe it's my calling. Like I'm just trying to get my late model ride.
Man, it almost seems like you need a nickname, like the Big Show or Prime Time Miciah or something.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how the flying bomb pop came about. Was we were playing during COVID, we were playing iRacing. It was all Dallin and all my friends around here that we raced with, and I love the bomb pop popsicles, and Dallin just started calling me the bomb pop, and that's how it stuck. Um, so, but I mean, it's just I just like what you guys are doing with this dirt crown. It gets us to try different tracks, and I know we talked throughout the winter, like when you were trying to get tracks lined up, and I told you I went away from weekly racing after I won the Stewart Points Championship. It's so stressful, and
Hmm.
like Tam, you're married to one track, and I think it's made me a better driver to travel around and race these different tracks. And in this stock car class, wins are hard to come by.
Extremely
And
hard.
when to say that you won in a dirt crown, I mean, any given night, that feature anybody can win. That's how good this class is. I mean,
Hmm.
you got guys show up all over the place, and they can win a feature. They can win that night. It's just it's so up in the air. And yeah, we had some repeat winners in the dirt crown last year, but majority of them, they were pretty much different winners most of the time.
Isn't that what isn't if you were sitting in the stands, isn't that what you want to see? You have that one driver. Don't you just want to see a hell of a race and not know who's going to win? Go into it with seriously just it's open, and all you know is whoever's going to win though is going to earn it, and
Right.
it's going to be a big deal. So I would say though to everybody, don't get discouraged because racing has its ups and downs, and on this series, it's even harder.
Hmm.
But it's so rewarding when things happen good for you because you didn't just go somewhere and cherry pick a win against 8 cars and half of been out.
Right.
Right.
Want to do that? I don't hold that against anybody, but I'm saying if you want to be a part of something very special and you want something rewarding at the end of the night, if you win, if you make the A, if you have a heck of a heat race, whatever it is, you're going to earn everything you get from this, and I think you're going to feel good about it on the way home of how you did. So I don't know. That's what I wanted to rate as a racer, and I spent a lot of years just sitting at the same track, staring at the same dirt. And in the end, when it was all said and done, my last year, I said, I'm not, screw this. I want to go try different things. And that's what I
Hmm.
did. And I had so much fun going to all kinds of different tracks. So that was bringing this, like, I'm not going to make these guys one place. Let's go. Let's go evens the field a little too. Well, you might have a little bit of an advantage, but 90% of them don't race there more than once or twice a year. So to me, it's another wild card every night that there's a dirt crown race. So,
I mean, right. It's crazy. Like when I know we're coming to Stewart, and I can't remember what the date is of the Stewart race, but everybody always says if you can race Stewart and be like fast at Stewart, you can pretty much race anywhere. It's just one of those tracks that's weird. It's a weird shaped track, but I tell you what, Stewart produces some of the best racing, and I've been a part of those cool races. Mike's got something good going on at Stewart, and all these other tracks. I mean, they always say if you build it, they'll come, and it's one of those. I think you guys are you're trying to get everybody involved. You're trying to get all these tracks involved. You're trying to get all. I mean, you're trying to please everybody, and you're not gonna please everybody. It's just how life goes. But I think the schedule you guys got this year it's gonna be pretty fun. I know Tanner and I raced quite a bit in the new tracks. We just traveling this tour together, and Tanner and I talked on one of our last podcasts. The last time we ran a tour together, it had been back in go-kart days, and that's a long time ago.
Great.
So I mean, it's just cool. And it's nice that some of these are on the weekends because it's nothing beats hanging out at the racetrack with your friends. I think it's just so relaxing after a race. You just sit there and you talk. You might not finish well, but it kind of just all goes out the window when at the end of the night, you guys all sit around, crack cold ones, and you just talk. I mean, you do.
Right. And that's like what we talked about on I think it was the last episode we did about how much fun we had at the fall specials. I mean, it was still intense because there was big money on the line at almost all these races, but just getting to race hard all night, hang out with all your friends pretty much all night, and then get up and work on your car the next day and then do it all over the next night. I mean, it's just, you can't hardly beat that. And that's what makes racing fun.
And I will say, guys, all the racers you hang out with and stuff. And I will say this is almost like a fraternity in a way too. The guy, he's as much as possible. I mean, there wasn't as many on the East as the West this year, but still the guys on the East that made it to, 3/4 of them or 90%, they had a camaraderie, not only on the track and the respect they give each other on the track, but off the track after the races, possibly half the night. They are there for the same reasons. You guys will be accepted into that. So I think it's just a cool deal to watch some people that maybe on the track or swapping paint and really giving each other the bumper and everything, but respecting each other doing it. But then to come on that crack a few cold ones and just enjoy each other's company, because really in the end, we're all without each other. We really don't have anything, so I think you guys are going to have fun hanging out with as well. My only advice is watch out for Dustin Viss. Dustin and his crew, I have met a lot of fun people in my life, but he's one of the funnest. So watch out.
Well, Rob, I mean, you kind of said it there. So Dustin is also in our fall bash, kind of like our fall special group. He's kind of our third person that is going on the tour with us. So yeah, we know all about the old Viss crew. We actually had a party last weekend or 2 weekends ago. And yeah, it was a good time.
Yep.
Well, just make sure you don't have to work the next day if you're hanging out with them.
So. Well, most of the time, I think all these dirt crowns are usually on the weekend, so I think we're all right.
We've kind of balanced the schedule with a little bit of everything. So proceed with caution is all I'm saying.
Oh, you got it. I mean, he gets to you, but no, it's this dirt crown thing. We appreciate what you and Scott do for this whole thing, especially the racers and the tracks. But it's just it's like racing needed this, and it's finally coming out. And yes, Super Nationals is all fun. It's the prestige of it. But I think local grassroots racing needed something kind of like Lucas Oil and World of Outlaws. They needed a
Right.
little touring series between the IMCA classes, and I think it's just brought out the good racing and just everything. Um, because it's just like nothing more felt good than it's like, where are you racing at this weekend? Well, I'm going to the Dirt Crown. Well, it's like, gosh, man, yeah, I'm going to the Dirt Crown.
Yep.
The best of the best. I mean, it's not. I'm just going to a Dirt Crown race. Maybe 20 cars will show up. No, when I went to Huset's, gosh, where people were like, well, what? Didn't even know how many cars were going to show up, and we got 58 stock cars that night.
Yeah.
I mean, that is that place was just one of a kind, and it was definitely a cool place to be a part of. And I'm glad it's back on the schedule because I need to redeem myself from knocking down the wall 35 straight laps. That was a rough one on me.
I have had that one circled on the calendar since I first even considered running the Dirt Crown series. That place is so cool. And that's one of the few races this year that I am really, really looking forward to.
I think like a lot of these tracks, that one's maybe even a little different. You have to be up on the wheel. And
Oh yeah.
as a former racer, I think I know. You tell me if I'm wrong. You get a lot of tracks. Maybe you're just out there, you're running laps, you're comfortable. You're going hard, but you're comfortable.
Right.
But the coolest times, the coolest feeling in the world when you got that feeling, that little tingling in your stomach or chest or whatever, and you're white knuckling it. You're up on the wheel.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
What I like about the Husets and many others are going to be like it, but you only get one shot to race there a year now.
Right.
If so, you got to go like hell. You can't F around in your heat race because someone's going to be taking your spot.
Right.
That's what I love about this. Nobody's out there just comfortable, because if you're comfortable, you're not making the A. That's for sure.
Oh, I mean, I know that night I didn't draw bad. It wasn't great. My drawing skills have never been really good.
Mine either.
But gosh, I get the heat race. I look at it, and I'm starting dead last, and I look on. I got Damon and Kyle Vanover on the front row. I'm like, and only top two transfer, and I'm like, man, well, I got my work cut out for me. I happened to miss it by one spot, and it was just like one of those like, okay, well, we got a car tonight, and then we went out for the B and ended up making it, and it was it felt like I just made the big dance at Super Nationals. I mean, you qualify for just a cool place like that. I mean, just qualifying for a race like that at Huset's, first time the stock cars have ever been at Huset's, and you qualify for the show. It's just a cool feeling. Yeah, we didn't run that good, but just to cross it off the bucket list saying that I raced at Huset's, well, it was pretty cool. And it's just like Tanner said, he has it circled, and I know last year when it came out, I had that thing sharpied on the calendar. I mean, we were definitely going. And I know this year we're both are trying to go to Knoxville, and that's why we're really committed to this Dirt Crown, is because we
Mhm.
really want to get that invite to go to Knoxville. But also I want to try Belleville. I've never got to try Belleville High Banks, and I've always ran big tracks around here, and I've always been pretty successful at the big tracks. And it just
Mhm.
looks like a cool place.
Well, I definitely invite you guys to Belleville, and it is a cool place. And there's not many opportunities to race Belleville either. I
Right.
know go for a XR show, but the Belleville Fair Board and those race committee guys, they're so awesome down there. They want to try it again, and they're not screwing around with the amount of money they're putting into this deal. And I think you should try it, because I got to try it once in a modified in 2001, and I'll never forget it. That's my best experience. That when I go to the grave, that'll be the last race that I'll remember. So
I don't know. I don't know. Are we gonna see a Rob Marsh appearance in a stock car this year or what?
you never know, right? So
Come on, give the people what they want.
Hey, give them what they want. Yeah. You think we'd sell more tickets or less tickets? I don't know. But no, guys, we got a lot of cool places, and there were some other tracks that I think that you would have highlighted as well. They didn't quite make it on the schedule this year. But once again, the better we keep doing this deal, it's easier for those promoters to say, we want you, or please let us have a chance. Or, it's just easier to make the phone call and the other guy on the other line said, yeah, let's try it. So there's some other cool tracks around here. But I don't know how you can complain about any of these tracks. And I know you guys are way over there, but if you can make it to any of the West races, there's some pretty badass races and badass racetracks on the West side too. And I know that's asking a lot, but you don't give any chances to try some of them. So if it works, try it out.
Right. And like you had mentioned at the beginning with the social media stuff and with us trying to create our brand as well. And if we can work with you guys to help promote the Dirt Crown series as much as we can, that's only going to open more doors for everybody going forward. Try and maybe we can get more races over here on the eastern side of Iowa, or maybe we can get some more of these iconic dirt tracks on the schedule. And like I remember I talked to you very briefly at the chassis school, Rob, how important social media is these days. And there's just not enough people that are putting the effort into it because social media takes a ton of time and effort. It is extremely difficult. I'm no professional at it by any means, but I do know that I do a lot more than the vast majority of people that are in racing, but you just have to. I mean, having a brand is so important in today's day and age. If you want anything to grow, that's what you have to do. And if we can help you guys grow your series as well as us building our brand along with it, we're going to try and do a bunch of content at all the races. We're going to keep this podcast going. Just anything we can do to try and help grow the Dirt Crown series is going to do wonders for everyone in the future, because you never know what's going to come from it. Because the more eyeballs we can get on this series, the better it's going to get.
I agree with you. And I appreciate you guys. Appreciate that comment. And we will do the same back, because honestly, we wouldn't be anywhere if good people wouldn't have gave us a chance and, helped us in different ways. Everybody can help in different ways. So
right,
you can be successful. And I love this sport. That's the bottom line. Scott loves the sport. His whole life is centered around the sport and in every business that he has in his career and everything. So we're willing to give anything. And if we can support you guys as well, that's the right thing to do. So that's what we're all about. And if everybody would just kind of have the same mindset, this sport maybe could get back in to where it should be. Because I think it's kind of, I'll be honest, I tell the truth. I think it's kind of, it needs a boost. That's what I should say. And we want to help give it that boost. And I feel like you guys are in the same boat. Let's all do something to make it better, type of deal. So I think we're all on the same page with that.
Right. And like with our brand that we started that's kind of why we started it, is because, yeah, it's kind of funny. The name of the brand is pretty funny, the B-Main Bobbies, but it's relatable. But the content that we create for this brand is like as grassroots as you can get. We both work full-time jobs. We live 2.5 hours apart, so we're not together every weekend, but we're going to race together at all these races. So we'll be able to create content there, but we're just giving people a complete, raw, authentic grassroots view of what the type of racing is that we do and how great this stock car class really is. Because like Miciah said earlier, it probably is the most competitive and the best class in the country right now. I mean, it's just all the cars are so close, the competition's so tough. And if we can help shine a light on that with the brand that we're building here, I mean, the more eyes you can get on it, the better for everybody.
I commend you guys for doing this. I think keep working at it here. You guys could really, get to places you don't even know you can get. So, and that's going to help our sport because it is our sport together. So just keep working hard and be yourselves. That'd be my take. And I can tell you guys already are. Just be yourselves and commit to it. It's going to be fun watching you guys kind of grow in this deal. Besides, being on the racetrack and growing your racing careers too. So good luck in all of this.
Well, hey, I know I texted you earlier on. I said, hey, what does the Bobbies got to do to get that Dirt Crown LED sign? we're gonna get one of those for the podcast. I mean, it's gonna be a whole podcast backdrop one of these days.
Let's do it. And I wish, if we could have got that video to work tonight, we got one on tonight. I think you guys will get this. Okay. You guys work hard and you're going to each take some of these signs home and it'd be cool to see it on your wall too, so work hard to get it. I know you can do it.
Oh, right. And I know like what Tanner said, we're going to do some live stuff at these tracks after the races. So if you and Scott want to be on it, I mean, we would love to have you again on it to talk about the night. And that, I mean, that's what we're really doing is it's going to be kind of like the flow racing thing they do. It's the 1 lap, 1 beer, but we're doing it's like literally right fresh off the track in the trailers, talk about the racing that night. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be pretty funny and cool at the same time. I mean, and that's what it's got to be in this. We're trying to entertain everybody. And because not a lot of these people see what goes on at the track or on the shops. They look at it like they just see the heat races and features. They don't get to see the behind the scenes of us making adjustments, explaining why we're doing this adjustment, and explaining what we feel on the track. And I think that's just going to be a cool thing for these fans and just new people getting into the sport too. Because that's also what we need is these young kids need to I know I was one of those at some point. I mean, going down the road, seeing a race trailer, it was just always, I mean, that's the best feeling ever. And I mean, like what Tanner and I said on one of the podcasts, if there's fans in the stands, that's the best feeling ever. Racing in front of a packed crowd, and that's what makes racing fun. And we just need to keep growing that, and that's what's going to keep this sport alive.
Well, you guys are right on. You're spot on. Scott and I and Dirt Crown will help you guys out too. Let us use our platform to help you grow because you're growing to help the sport. So it's going to be cool. I can't wait to see the content you guys throw out at the end of the night and all of that. It's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to it, guys.
Yeah, and I think Miciah and I both can agree together that this is probably the most excited we've ever been coming into a race season. Like we're down to a month away and it seems so far away, but it's going to go so quick. And next thing you know, we're going to be halfway through the season, but we're both extremely excited. The stuff we got going, I think is going to be a lot of fun. I think this could be a really, really amazing year for both of us.
Yep. I think it will be too. And enjoy the ride. It'll go fast, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. But well, Rob, I know it's getting kind of late and we really, really appreciate you coming on tonight. We will definitely have you and Scott both on at some point at one of these races. Hopefully it's after a good night, so neither one of us has to be angry and pissed off at the world when we're trying to do this. But again, we appreciate you coming on very much. We are extremely excited to race with you guys this year. And I'm sure we'll talk to you before then. But if not, we will see you at Beatrice. And thank you very much again for coming on tonight.
No, thank you.
Guys, we appreciate you. It's going to be fun having you at Dirt Crown this year. It's just going to be a lot of fun, but just know we appreciate you. Without guys like you, the sport wouldn't be anywhere. So I can't wait to see you in Beatrice. See what happens.
Yep. Well, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of the B-Main Bobbies podcast. Our first guest, Rob Marsh. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. He covered a lot of information. This Dirt Crown series is going to be a lot of fun. So that's all we got for tonight. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel because our podcast is just exclusive to YouTube right now. And you can also follow us on all social media platforms at B-Main Bobbies. Make sure you like and subscribe, share the show, tell somebody about it, share it on all platforms. We appreciate everything you guys have done so far. We're just getting started. So we will catch you guys on the next one.